We invite anyone still seated who is a child in age or in spirit to come up front to join Reverend Nancy and our young chalice lighters for his story.
Good morning. How is everyone today here? Good? Hello? So today I'm going to tell the story, and I don't know if you've heard of it before. It's about Sofia and the Heartmender. So Sofia was a little girl, and she was sitting in her bedroom at night. Here comes one. Yay! She was sitting in her bedroom, and she was looking out the window, and she was noticing that the horizon was turning pink as the sun was going down. And she said to her cat, she said, "You know what? It's time to turn the lights on." And then her parents yelled from the other room, and they said, "Go to bed, Sofia." And so Sofia went into bed, and then they said, "Turn the lights out." She's like, "I don't want to turn the lights out." So she went into bed, and she was lying there, and suddenly a hand reached around the door and turned the lights out. And so Sofia, she knew that wasn't a good idea, because at night, the shadow monsters came out. So she put the blanket over her head, and she crawled into the bed, and she lay there, and she felt her heart just cracking a little bit that no one had listened to her, that the shadow monsters were there. In the morning, she got up, and she was very grumpy. She was tired. She hadn't slept very well at all last night, and she wasn't very hungry, and she sat down, and her parents gave her some eggs and toast. And she said she was tired, and they said, "You shouldn't be tired. There's no such thing as shadow monsters." And she felt her heart just tear a little more. She wasn't hungry, so she put the eggs and she put the toast in her bag, and she went off to school. And then while she was at school, they asked her to draw a picture. So she drew a picture, and this may look familiar to some of you. She drew a picture, and it looked like this, and it looked like this, and it looked like this. And the teacher said, "You're wasting a lot of paper, and it doesn't make any sense. I told you to paint some flowers, and you didn't paint flowers. You drew something that looked weird." And Sofia's heart just broke in half. And so she went outside, and she went to the playground. And she was sitting on a rock out in the playground, and she closed her eyes, wondering what to do. And a dog came into her mind, and the dog said, "What's wrong, Sofia?" And she said, "My heart's broken." And he said, "Well, you need to go see the Heartmender." And she said, "Well, I don't know where the Heartmender lives. Do you know?" And he said, "I'll lead you to the Heartmender." So she went on this long journey, and she traveled, and she eventually got to these woods, some dark woods, and up ahead she could see a little cabin with some lights on. And she knew that that was where the Heartmender lived. But as she got closer, guess what happened? The shadow monsters came out. And she said to the dog, "I don't know how to get to the Heartmender's house." And he said, "You know, the shadow monsters, they're really just hungry and they're lonely. And if you spend some time with the shadow monsters taking care of them, maybe you can just have them rest." So she was thinking, like, how do I take care of shadow monsters? I'm just a little girl. But then she remembered she still had her eggs and toast in her bag. So she took out the eggs and the toast, and she put them on the ground, and then the shadow monsters gathered around, and she sat with them. Although she was a little scared, she was what? Why didn't she run? She could have run. Okay, she could have run through, but she decided she was going to befriend the shadow monsters instead. So she sat and she ate with them. And slowly, as the shadow monsters got full and their hunger was satiated, they just sort of sat to the side and they rested. So Sofia was able to travel on and go see the Heartmender. Then she got to the Heartmender's cabin, and she knocked on the door, and she opened it, and there was a woman in there, and she said her name was Tara. And Sofia said, I need my heart mended. And Tara said, let's do that. Let's take care of you here today. So she took the 2 pieces of Sofia's heart, and they went outside, and she held the heart up to the moon, and the pieces came back together again, and they healed Sofia's heart, so it was whole again. And then she said, it's always good to bathe in the moonlight and have the moon heal your heart when your heart is hurting. Then she gave Sofia a necklace, and she said, take this necklace, and each of the beads on this necklace stand for the earth and the sun and the moon and the rocks and the trees. And remember that the earth is your friend. And every time you touch that necklace, remember that the earth is here for healing and to take care of you. So Sofia then suddenly heard this noise that was, Sofia, Sofia, where are you? And she opened her eyes and realized she was still sitting on the rock outside of the school. And the teacher wanted to know what the heck she was doing out on that rock all this time. And then the teacher invited her inside and said, Sofia, I think I've been a little harsh with you. Can you show me what you were actually trying to draw? So Sofia took all the pieces of paper and she put them together, and she said, I was actually drawing my shadow monster. And all the kids were like, oh, that's so cool. You can take all the pieces and put it together and show us what you mean. And Sofia felt so good when they understand what she was making. And then Sofia went home, and her parents said to her, let's see that drawing that you did. And she showed them. She said, this is what I'm seeing at night. And they said, we're sorry that we didn't listen to you. And Sofia's heart was warmed and it was mended. And that night when Sofia went to bed, she looked out her window and she saw the sun going down, and there was the pink at the horizon. And she thought, I don't need to turn the lights on tonight. Tonight, I'm going to let the moon bathe me all night long. And that is how Sofia had her heart mended. And that's the story today. Thank you.